A federal court has dismissed the prorogation challenge brought forth by the JCCF. China imposes retaliatory tariffs on Canada in response to our own tariffs on China from October. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh goes back on his pledge to call an election at the earliest possible moment. From border charges to legalizing illegal workers to discouraging protests, our elected officials are the worst. Our goal, as always, is to bring you news, culture, and politics from a distinctly Christian, conservative, and Canadian perspective. It's March 10th. I'm Andrew DiBartolo. This is Liberty Dispatch News Brief.
If you're running a business, communicating with customers is essential. Maybe you're using MailChimp, Constant Contact, GoDaddy, or others to send out your monthly newsletter. That's great, but what if you could do that and automate all your sales and marketing processes, all in one system? Sales Nexus is the place to automate email and text marketing campaigns and manage sales. It's simple to set up and has the features you need to grow your business. As a bonus, when you switch from MailChimp or Constant Contact, they'll enrich your list with phone numbers and mailing addresses for everyone on your email list. Sign up to Sales Nexus at salesnexus.com to try it free.
Are you looking to take control of your investments and align them with your Christian values? At Rocklink Investment Partners, they build customized portfolios tailored to your specific needs, all while promoting transparency and integrity. As a privately managed investment firm operated by Christians with a conservative worldview, Rocklink stands apart by helping you grow your wealth without compromising your beliefs. Visit rocklink.com or email them at info@rocklink.com and discover how they can help you steward your finances wisely. Rocklink Investment Partners. Integrity-driven, values-aligned, and built for you. Some of the big news out of last week was that the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms announced their disappointment that the federal court ruled that our prime fascist decision to advise the Governor-General to prorogue Parliament was lawful. As a result, the 44th session of Parliament continues to be prorogued until March 24th, 2025. This was from the JCCF news release. Quote, "In that decision, Chief Justice Crampton stated, the applicants failed to demonstrate that the Prime Minister exceeded any of the limits established by the written Constitution or by the unwritten principles they identified. Chief Justice Crampton agreed with the applicants that the power to prorogue was reviewable by the courts. The Chief Justice also agreed that the overall circumstances are troubling, but stated that it is not possible to disentangle the various considerations identified by the Prime Minister for the purpose of determining whether, on balance, he exceeded the scope of his constitutional and legal authority in making the decision." Constitutional lawyer Hatim Kher stated, "We are disappointed that the Prime Minister's unprecedented use of power to prorogue Parliament has been upheld. However, we are pleased to see that the court has confirmed that the power to prorogue Parliament is not immune from review by the courts." Close quote. This feels a lot like the public order emergency inquiry, where the Liberal government, upon investigating the Liberal government, found that the Liberal government did nothing wrong. Now, the silver lining here is clarity. We continue to see clearly where we stand and the sorry state of both our courts and the pursuit of justice in Canada. Jagmeet Singh, the Maserati Marxist, the colorful commie, the turban totalitarian, to no one's surprise, has decided to go back on his word, which was that once he got his cushy parliamentary pension, he would join the Conservatives in casting a vote of non-confidence in Justin Trudeau and triggering a federal election as soon as possible. Now here's the National Post covering his cowardly hypocrisy. Quote, "With the NDP staring down some of the worst poll numbers in their history, leader Jagmeet Singh is suddenly walking back his pledge to bring down the Liberal government at the earliest opportunity. Singh said, 'I've been really clear, and I remain clear, and I appreciate the opportunity to repeat it. We will be voting to bring down the government at the earliest opportunity, he told CTV on January 20th. Singh was even more explicit at a public appearance in Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, where he said, "We will be voting against the government when we return to Parliament at the end of March, and there will be an election in the spring." That's what he said. Now, what is it that he is saying now? We're literally in a trade war, and I can't imagine any opposition leader that wouldn't want to support a package to help workers impacted by this. We need supports for workers first, and an election afterwards. The NDP's apparent about-face on the issue of an immediate non-confidence vote just happens to coincide with the series of polls showing that the party appears to be lurching towards their worst ever showing in a general election, all the way back to the party's 1961 founding, close quote. And that is the silver lining in this story, that the NDP will be relegated to the basement storage closet of Canadian politics for a while, which is where they deserve to be. They have enabled the Liberals to drive Canada's morality, economy, and cultural cohesion into the ground, and they deserve to suffer a glorious defeat at the next election. Friends, the Lord has put our bodies together to be able to restore themselves naturally when we fuel them with the proper nutrients and get rid of toxins. Plexus is a gut health supplement company that helps to restore diminished nutrients and rids our bodies of the toxins, yeast, and inflammation that create havoc. Unbalanced blood sugar levels, inflammation, and poor gut health lie at the root of the vast majority of our health problems. By addressing these three root issues, Plexus helps to get our bodies back to the way they were designed to function. If you're looking to feel better and restore your gut health, email healthandliberty@proton.me and get hooked up with the discount today. Again, that's healthandliberty@proton.me, and a rep will be more than happy to help you out. Canada imposed duties on Chinese-made electric vehicles and steel and aluminum products back in October, a 100% surtax on all Chinese-made EVs, and 25% on steel and aluminum imports, to be exact. At the time, then Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland had this to say, quote, "We're moving in lockstep with key international partners to level the playing field for Canadian workers and businesses by protecting them from China's intentional, state-directed policy of overcapacity and oversupply, which is undermining Canada's ability to compete in domestic and global markets. Our government recognizes the challenges that Canadian businesses face in adjusting their supply chains away from Chinese imports, which is why we are providing remission relief as they work to secure imports from our trusted trading partners," close quote. China is not very happy with that, and this National Post story outlines the response from the Communist Chinese regime. Quote, "China has announced a retaliatory tariff on some Canadian farm and food imports. The new duties become effective March 20th, according to a statement by the Customs Tariff Commission of the State Council. Additional 100% tariffs will be imposed on Canadian grapeseed oil, oil cakes and peas, and additional 25% tariffs will apply to pork and aquatic products," close quote. Why did Canada impose these duties on China in the first place, you might be wondering? Well, similar duties were imposed by the US and the European Union against Chinese-made EVs and other products. These governments said China's subsidies gave its industry an unfair advantage. So, the trade wars go international. I don't think I say this often enough, but our elected officials are just the worst. They're evil, greedy, arrogant, cowardly, and essentially everything they do simultaneously benefits them and harms Canadians. They hurt our economy, they hurt our Canadian morality and cohesion, and they definitely hate our freedoms. We wanted to close this news brief with several stories that outline this reality. The first one is from the National Post. Quote, "Canadian border officers have started slapping a 25% surtax in addition to applicable duties on most items from the U.S. that Windsorites and other border residents have crossed with for decades. These countermeasures will apply to commercial shipments, goods imported by mail or courier, and goods imported by individual travelers above their personal exemptions, said Karine Martel, a spokesperson for the Canada Border Services Agency. Surtaxes will remain in place until the U.S. eliminates its trade restrictive measures against Canada. The fee is charged under the newly minted United States surtax order. It applies to any American-made products, even if they are entering Canada from a third country. The surtax is introduced by Canada in response to the U.S. imposition of tariffs on goods imported into the U.S. from Canada, is what the federal government stated on its website. Close quote. It's worth noting that even though Donald Trump paused the tariff rollout until April 2nd, the surtax will continue, and as per the orders of Premier Doug Ford, the LCBO has emptied its shelves of all American liquor and alcohol. It's all so stupid. It really is. This next story is from CTV News. Quote, thousands of undocumented construction workers will be able to apply for legal status in Canada under a new immigration pathway. In an announcement on Friday, Immigration Minister Mark Miller said up to 6,000 undocumented workers will be accepted to combat Canada's housing crisis and fill severe labor shortages in the construction sector. We're reserving space for up to 6,000 undocumented workers across the country to participate in a new construction pathway that will help bring these workers up from underground into the light, Miller said at a news conference. Some of these workers, Miller explained, came to Canada legally but continue to work here after their status expired. These workers, often called undocumented or out-of-status workers, can be in precarious positions, exploited by their employers, exploited by other actors in society, and forced to work for lower wages and take unsafe jobs and aren't treated with dignity, Miller said. The immigration minister also seemed to push back against the notion that such migrants were being rewarded for overstaying their visas to legally live and work in Canada. I want to be clear, no one should stay longer than they're legally allowed in Canada, Miller said. Those who do may face serious consequences, but it would be shooting ourselves in the foot to ask people that are working in these critical infrastructure projects to leave when they've been contributing to Canada, close quote. In other words, don't break the rules because that would be bad. Unless you give us some stuff after you break the rules, then everything will be just fine. But just because we're letting you get away with it doesn't mean that we will let others get away with it, because we are not going to let you get away with it unless we let you get away with it. You know? Get it? Finally, I will let Federal Public Safety Minister David McGuinty discuss their new plan to prevent Canadians from engaging in lawful protests because tyrants never like being questioned or disobeyed. Have a listen.
Canada's Parliament has always been open, accessible and welcoming to Canadians and visitors alike. And we need to keep it that way. It goes beyond just people. This is our special responsibility in the nation's capital. We need to safeguard the democratic ideals that this country was built on and that the Parliament buildings represent, including peace, order, good government, and the right to peaceful assembly, which we all cherish and we all want to protect. So today I am more than honored to be announcing a $50 million investment to establish a dedicated policing presence around Parliament Hill, the Parliament District Policing Program. And from my perspective, this is long overdue. This new program is the result of an increase in protest activity, in part in our downtown core, including the infamous convoy protests. This will give the Ottawa Police Service even more resources to keep our downtown safe, ensuring real-time responses to any emergencies.
Now, just in case you stumbled over that masterclass in doublespeak, they want to protect peaceful protests by ramping up police presence on Parliament Hill because of peaceful protests like the Freedom Convoy? Also, Now they love peaceful protests and democracy? Oh, and I'm sure these additional police will bring extra Tim's coffee to pro-Hamas protesters calling for the death of Jews. This is a cowardly move made by petty wannabe dictators, just like our federal government. But here's the silver lining in this story. It actually shows that we are right on the target. If they didn't feel like their grip of power was threatened, if they didn't feel like they were worried that the narrative is shifting and more Canadians are waking up to what's really going on, and if they didn't feel like they were in a safe position, especially in terms of upcoming elections, then they wouldn't do something like this. So we know that we're on the right track. We know that the truth always comes out. We know that you can only cover up the light for so long before it exposes the darkness. And that's my encouragement for you. Continue to expose the darkness. Continue to shine the light of truth. Continue to speak the truth. Continue to proclaim the truth. And please don't silence or self-censor yourself. Well, there you have it, friends. You are all up to date. Make sure to email healthandliberty@proton.me to find amazing products to enhance your health. Also, make sure you head over to rocklink.com to get some advice and see how our friends there can help you to manage your wealth for you, your children, and your grandchildren. Finally, make sure you head over to ldcanada.substack.com and subscribe to our mailing list and help support the show. Until next time, Galatians 5:1.